No, this is not the case study. Let me... Case study on liquidation. I hope now my screen is visible. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us start this case study on liquidation and then we'll take voluntary liquidation. So I've identified some points in case of liquidation on which questions can be asked. The first question could be regarding the contribution to liquidation costs. As we know that during the last COC meeting, the committee of creditors, they assess the liquidation cost and the liquidation value. And in case the value of the liquid assets is less than the liquidation cost, then they ask the financial institutions to contribute in the ratio in which they have given the loans or in the ratio of the debts. Another point could be regarding compromise or arrangement, because before liquidation, this should also be resorted to this opportunity, compromise or arrangement. If there is any possibility of compromise or arrangement, then the 90 days period is given for this. Independence of liquidator, there are provisions regarding independence of liquidator and the persons he is required to appoint, preservation of record, 3 years, 8 years, how to seek cooperation, and so on and so forth. So let us see this case study. This is the case study. Liquidation order was passed against XYZ Private Limited by the adjudicating authority since no resolution plan was received during CIRP period. So balance sheet of this was not the file. Actually, that is some other file. Let me see.
Sir, someone is waiting in the lobby, sir. Can you allow them, sir? They have put message.
Karo.
Just a minute.
Wait, I'm doing.
Thank you, sir.
Case study on liquidation. Just a minute. Oh. Yes, this is the file. Actually, I think I had opened some other file. Yes. So liquidation order was passed against XYZ Private Limited by the adjudicating authority since no resolution plan was received during CIRP period. Balance sheet of XYZ is as under. So paid up capital, loan from financial institutions, loan from alternative investment funds, unsecured loan, workman dues, government dues. And here are the fixed assets, inventory, cash and bank, accumulated losses and total. And this is the liquidation value against the assets. Now let us see some of the questions. So following further information is provided to you. First is that the liquidation cost is estimated at 100 crores.
So scroll करिए,
है?
scroll करिए, आगे scroll कर दीजिए.
हाँ, नहीं ये तो नजर आ रहा है, नहीं नजर आ रहा?
नहीं नजर आ रहा है. क्वेश्चन
हाँ.
नहीं है.
Sir, the case study you have shared, no, sir, that's 10 extra, sir, and everything.
Just a minute.
If paid up capital is
Case
50, sir.
study. Just a minute. Case study. Liquidation.
हाँ.
Actually, there is some problem. Now I think it is okay, है ना? Maybe I saved 2 files.
Yes, sir. Yes,
है ना?
sir.
हाँ.
This is only that. Yes.
Now
Yes,
it's
sir.
okay, na? हाँ.
Yes, sir.
50 crores.
So, so following further information is provided to you. Liquidation cost is estimated at 100 crores. A scheme of compromise. So this is the liquidation cost estimated at 100 crores. So the first question out of this, how liquid assets are how much? Liquid assets in this balance sheet are how much?
80 crores.
80, sir.
80 crores. Okay. And liquidation cost is 100 crores. So balance 20 crores. Who will contribute?
Financial
The
creditors.
financial creditors, sir, according
and-
to your debts.
So basically there are two types of financial creditors here. And not all the financial creditors, but only those who are financial institutions.
Institutions.
So only loan from these financial institutions and loan from alternative investment funds. Only these two will contribute. And their loan is 100 and 200. So
1:2 ratio में.
So they will contribute in the ratio of 1:2. Towards the
Sir, liquidation cost 100% very high, na sir. Liquidation cost means liquidator and raising some and preservation
yes.
of assets, but
Yes.
100% is high, na sir. Liquidation cost
अभी
means
सर
high, na.
20 में सर कंटिन्यू करने दीजिए. बात हो
Oh, these are just figures, so doesn't make much difference. No? Actually, liquidation cost is dependent upon the realizable value. Suppose the realizable value is more, then it could be more. Sometimes what happens is the company owns some land and the present value of land is much more.
But that is realization. Liquidation cost means what what is the cost incurred by the liquidator and some professionals engaged, some if any finance he has raised interest, that only, na sir.
No, that is true. But let us assume these are figures only. These are for
Hypothetical
understanding
figure.
purpose only.
Okay.
Hypothetical figures. No. So in this case, these financial institutions and loan from these alternative investment funds. So financial institutions and alternative investment funds will contribute in the ratio of 1:2 to meet the liquidation cost, which is more than the liquid assets. Liquid assets here are 80 and liquidation cost is 100. Now, next question. A scheme of compromise, arrangement and amalgamation was submitted to NCLT by the corporate debtor. However, NCLT rejected the scheme. So in this case, what will happen? In case a scheme of compromise, arrangement and amalgamation is submitted to NCLT by the corporate debtor during liquidation,
The cost
and
of
NCLT does not approve of the same, then who will bear the cost?
this year? So 50 lakhs
Cost will be borne by
CD.
CD. Okay. And what is the time allowed for this?
90 days.
90 days.
90 days. Okay.
From the
And
NCLT.
if time taken actually is more than 90 days, suppose had this scheme been approved and they would have taken 100 days, then how much period will be
that extra
deducted?
date will be reduced from the liquidation period.
Yes. So maximum up to 90 days only is considered for this purpose.
Considered.
Next is liquidation value is 300 crores. In this case, the liquidation value is 300 crores. I have already given the liquidation values. These are the liquidation value. Fixed asset 100 crores, inventory 120, and cash and bank 80. So this is the liquidation value. Now, the company is having two divisions. One is catalyst division, another is engineering division. So liquidation value is 300 crores, catalyst division 180 crores, engineering division 120, and fair value is 350 crores. Catalyst division 200 crores and engineering division 150 crores. Now, out of these two divisions, let us see this question. The business of XYZ Private Limited was divided into two divisions, Catalyst Division and Engineering Division. Liquidation cost of Catalyst Division is 180 crores, whereas liquidation value of Engineering Division is 120 crores. Liquidator wants to sell Catalyst Division in response to auction. Nobody came at a reserve price of 190 crores. Now, the liquidator has identified a buyer at 200 crores.
This questions are not visible, sir.
It is well visible.
Visible.
One second. No, the question you said, sir, just now.
Uh-huh.
Ma'am, see
third
the
from
last third
Okay.
last
Third-
point.
Third
last,
from last.
the business of
Okay.
XYZ.
Okay. So here the first question is what should be the reserve price in case of an auction?
कैसा लाइट चला गया?
हाँ, लाइट चला गया सर जी.
हाँ, लग तो रहा है. आवाज अंधेरा हो गया.
हम्म.
अजीब
तो-
समस्या
है
दिल्ली में, अजीब समस्या, रोज लाइट जाता है.
तो अभी क्या करें? अभी तो चलने देते हैं जब तक चलता है.
हाँ, चलिए.
अभी सबको नजर तो आ ही रहा होगा,
हाँ, अभी
Yes,
यार.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
है ना? हाँ, ठीक है. अब बीच में होगा तो फिर बाद में एक्सटेंड कर लेंगे, कोई इशू नहीं है.
ठीक है.
So the business of XYZ was divided into two divisions, Catalyst and Engineering. Liquidation value of Catalyst division is 180. So the first question was, what can be the reserve price? What is the regulation regarding this reserve price? Suppose you are a liquidator and you want to fix the reserve price. So in this case, the liquidator, you are a liquidator and you are thinking that, okay, let me sell this Catalyst division. So for this, you will have to invite some open bids through open auction. So what is the reserve price you will fix for this purpose?
As per liquidation value जो है, जो as per value submitted by the value है.
Nahin,
Sir,
what is
it
the
is
relevant?
given in schedule 1 mode
Yes,
of sale.
And schedule 1 also refers to regulation 35 again.
35.
हाँ,
So
That
regulation
is-
35 says what? Regulation 35 says? Regulation 35
Valuation
says
of
the
asset.
average of fair
Average
value
of
and
the two
liquidation
values.
value. So in this case, average of fair value and liquidation value will come to what for Catalyst division? 180 and 200. Liquidation value of Catalyst division is 180 crores. Fair value of Catalyst division is 200 crores.
190, sir.
So 190. So 190 is the reserve price.
Reserve
So
price.
the liquidator fixed the reserve price at 190 crore, but nobody came at that reserve price. Now the liquidator has identified a buyer from the open market at 200 crores. So what are the formalities to sell this property to this buyer? And it is covered under which regulation?
it is
So we can see regulation 35, schedule 1 we have already seen. Now let us see regulation 33 for this.
Mode of sale.
Regulation 33, what does it say?
What will be the mode of sale? Auction sale or private sale? That is the thing. Schedule 1 and schedule 1.
How?
This is the thing, sir. Auction sale and private sale, mode of sales.
But it says now the fourth point. If you see 33 2D, what it says, the prior permission of the adjudicating authority has been obtained
obtained.
for such sale. So first is to sell it through auction. The auction failed in this case. For that, you have to fix a reserve price. Reserve price is average of fair value and liquidation value, which was 190 crores. But the auction failed. Now he wants to sell it at a higher price. Because the third condition is the asset is sold at a higher price than the reserve price of a failed auction. So it satisfies this criteria. But what has to be done? the prior permission of the adjudicating authority has to be obtained. So in this case, if he wants to sell it to a buyer at 200 crores, the prior permission of adjudicating authority is required.
Needed.
Provided that the liquidator shall not sell the assets without prior permission of the adjudicating authority by way of private sale to a related party of the corporate debtor, his related party means related party of the liquidator, or any professional appointed by him. Okay, so this was the regulation. Now let us move to the other questions. This point is clear, compromise point is clear, you know. The difference between liquidation cost and liquid assets is clear. Next is actual inventory is 120 crore only on physical verification. So in this case, the inventory as per books was 500 crores, but the actual inventory is now 120 crores only. So what he will do in this case? Liquidator, what are the actions he need to take?
Avoidance of transactions.
Yes. Because he may invoke the provisions of 66 fraudulent
Yes.
trading, because when the inventory value as per books is 500 crores, but actual inventory is 120 crores, it means some fictitious purchases have been booked. That is why only the inventory has piled up. Otherwise, how could it be possible that inventory is 120 crores only, whereas in books it is 500 crores? And he can get the transaction audit also done for this purpose.
As per section 35(2), in that case, one time he may again appoint register valuers. If any high difference between these two.
Yes, definitely. No, he
After that,
he has already appointed two valuers. No, he has already appointed two valuers and he got the
already
fair
appointed.
value.
Okay.
But besides that, he can invoke the provisions of section 66 and he can also get a transaction audit done. And at in the first meeting, in the first progress report, in the first report itself, the liquidator has to state whether he wants to investigate into any transactions or not. That provision is also there. Liquidation process.
So it is not clear that it is the average of fair and liquidation value.
No, but let us see regulation 35. What schedule 1 says? Schedule 1 says that it has to be calculated in accordance with regulation 35.
Yes.
Schedule
Yes,
1
sir.
also refers to regulation 35. And
35,
regulation 35 tells you the manner. So regulation 35, if we see, regulation 35 says the valuation of assets or business intended to be sold. So where the valuation has been conducted, the liquidator shall consider the average of the estimates of the value arrived under those provisions for the purpose of valuation under these regulations. So in effect, it means that valuation as per regulation 35 shall be the average of the values arrived.
So that values are already average because two values were appointed. So the values were already average of two values. So then again we have to average it with fair and liquidation value.
No. Two valuers, they give two values. Each valuer gives two values. One is fair value, another is liquidation value.
Yes, sir. Okay.
And in liquidation, firstly, only one valuer is appointed. In case it is required, second valuer is appointed. So let us.
Can you go to section 66?
Let us again read regulation 35. Regulation 35 says where valuation has been conducted under regulation, insolvency resolution process or this fast track resolution process, the liquidator shall consider, in case he is already having the values, he will consider the average of the estimates. And in case the valuation was not done during CIRP or fast track, he shall within 7 days of the liquidation commencement date appoint 2 registered valuers
Yes.
to determine the realizable value of the assets or business, provided that the following. So, and the registered valuers, they will submit the estimates of realizable value after physical verification of the assets. And the average of the 2 estimates received shall be taken as the value of the assets.
Then actually, what I have seen, the liquidation value is already like 75% of the fair value. That is how they calculate, or 80% of the fair value is the liquidation value. This is how they calculate. So it is average of the 2 liquidation values only, I think.
No, actually, liquidation value could be more or less. So it need not necessarily be so. The liquidation value is an independent calculation. Fair value is an independent calculation.
No, but sir, but regulation 3 said this 35(3), the registered value appointed under section so and so, estimate the realizable value of the assets. And then 4 says the average of the 2 estimates. Means both the numbers, whatever the realizable value they have given, it should be considered like that, or what?
Actually, there could be 2 scenarios. One is that valuers have already been appointed under CIRP or fast track. In that case, liquidator will consider the average of the estimates of the values arrived under those provisions. But if we see regulation 35 of CIRP, let us see regulation 35 of CIRP also. So if we go to regulation 35 of CIRP regulations, to which reference is being made in this, what it says? It again says fair value and liquidation value. Regulation 35 of CIRP. So in this regulation 35 of liquidation regulations, it says in case you are having those values, so liquidator shall consider the average of the estimates of the values arrived under those provisions. So in CIRP, they are having fair value and liquidation value. Now come to this regulation 35 of liquidation process regulations. It says in case you have not appointed valuers under CI in case of CIRP or fast track, then what you will do? So within 7 days, you will appoint 2 registered valuers to determine the realizable value of the assets or business. So here the concept is of realizable value. In case of CIRP, the concept is of fair value and liquidation value. But in our case, we are presuming that valuers were appointed in case of CIRP also. That is why fair value and liquidation value is given. So in case fair value and liquidation value is given, so we will consider the average of those only.
If there is a hard difference between this very high, then he may appoint a third valuer also.
No, that is true. वो तो different. अभी तो है ना आपके पास. अभी we have to go as per regulation 35(1). So do you agree with me or not on this? Because we have got fair value and liquidation value.
We have got the average 2 value, then we'll take the average of this two.
Sir, actually, suppose the 2 values given the 2 liquidation value, the average of 2 liquidation value you have to take, sir, not the average of liquidation value and fair value.
No.
Sir.
That is what I am reading. Actually, there are 2 scenarios.
Yes, sir.
Please, I am reading from regulation number 35 of liquidation process regulations.
Okay.
So what it says, there could be 2 scenarios. Regulation 35, sub-regulation 1. What it says? It says in case valuation has already been done under regulation 35 of CIRP regulations or 34 of fast track process regulations. So the liquidator, what he will do? He will consider the average of the estimates of the values arrived under those provisions. So he is referring to CIRP and fast track provisions in those cases, fair value and liquidation value is obtained. So he's saying you will consider the average of the estimates of the values arrived under those provisions. And what does those provisions say? Regulation 35 of CIRP, regulation says fair value and liquidation value. And regulation 35, sub-regulation 2 of liquidation process regulations, what does it say? In case it is not covered under sub-regulation 1, it means valuers were not appointed in CIRP or fast track. Then the liquidator, the fresh valuation is required. He will appoint 2 registered valuers, and then he's talking of the realizable value of the assets of the business under clauses A to F of regulation 32 of the corporate debtor. And what do these regulations say? 32 A to F. 32 A to F consider the various situations, how the property is to be sold basically. 32 A to F will say asset on a standalone basis. So what the liquidator will calculate? He will calculate the value in case the assets are to be sold on standalone basis, then assets in slump sale. So all these values will be obtained as per regulation 35(2). I hope I'm clear now. In our case, we are presuming that liquidator was appointed under CIRP regulations, and we are doing the valuation as per regulation 35 sub-regulation 1 of liquidation process regulations. I hope all.
Sir, in both the cases, if under CIRP or under liquidation, the point is that it has to be average of the fair value.
No, it is not like that. It is not like that. If you are having a copy of the regulations.
Yes.
If you are reading from liquidation process regulations, then you read regulation 35 sub-regulation 2. It talks of realizable value under clauses A to F of regulation 32. And what does this clauses say? Assets in slump sale, etc., etc. So for all these types, he will be calculating the realizable value. So this valuation under liquidation is different.
Okay.
I hope I'm clear now. आप देखिए आपको पता चल जाएगा if you read this.
Yes. Got it.
है ना?
Yes.
Because regulation 35 sub-regulation 2 talks of the realizable value of the assets or business under clauses A to F. It does not talk of average or something. Average is talked of.
This the definition of average value is liquidation value is given. I think like definition of liquidation value and fair value. Not finding it.
No. Regulation 35 sub-regulation 1 of liquidation process regulations talks of a situation where valuers were already appointed during CIRP period. So it says in case valuers were already appointed during CIRP period, then you take the average of the estimates of the values arrived under those provisions. And what are those provisions? Fair value, liquidation value.
Yes.
And regulation 35 sub-regulation 2, it talks of a situation when valuers were not appointed and or fresh valuation is required. So in case fresh valuation
I got you, sir. मैं समझ गई सर आपकी
अब बिल्कुल क्लियर है ना? हाँ जी,
हाँ बिल्कुल क्लियर
है ना? हाँ, ये है पॉइंट यहाँ पर. अब आगे चलते हैं. तो फिक्स्ड एसेट्स include leasehold rights of 50 crore in a land in a remote area. Even e-auction did not elicit any buyer, and the liquidator is thinking of disclaiming the same as onerous property. A maintenance contract was entered into for such land with the local contractor, and the same provided for a lump sum compensation of 50 lakhs in case of termination of lease. The local contractor has evinced interest and is acquired in writing from the liquidator as to whether the liquidator is going to disclaim the leasehold land. So now this is the situation regarding onerous contracts. So in case there is an onerous contract, so what shall be the treatment during liquidation? This is the question here.
Regulation 10, sir.
Acha. So regulation 10. A disclaimer of onerous property. But in this case, he has shown interest. He has inquired in the local contractor who he has evinced interest, and he has inquired in writing from the liquidator as to whether the liquidator is going to disclaim the land. Now, whether the liquidator is under an onus to inform him whenever an inquiry is made by an interested buyer, whether it is the duty of the liquidator to inform him before lodging an application for disclaimer of onerous property.
Yes, he has to inform the contractor. At least he take 1 month's time, 30 days time he will take.
Some
After that, he-
subsection 2, sir.
Subsection two,
before he
30,
has
he will
to
take 30 days
Yes.
Sir, 10
That is-
subsection 2.
Yes. Regulation 2
time.
and sub regulation 2.
That disclaimer means one risk, suppose that it will not take into account of liquidation estate.
Yes. Yes.
So, but last to the last, sir, realization value will be reduced now. Then what benefit is there?
No, actually,
Disclaimer.
in case of onerous property, the obligations attached with the property are more. So that is why they want to disclaim this property, basically. So for this, you have to refer to the definition of onerous property. So onerous property is something where the suppose some compensation clauses are there, which will result in unprofitable situation at the end. So whatever is to be gained by way of sale, the more something more has to be given. Maybe in the form of compensation for termination of lease or something like that. That is the situation.
So you will disclaim means you will not claim. It will as if it is not the part of the
Yes. It will go at zero value.
zero value.
So
But
regarding
shares
the
and stocks also in the shares and stocks in companies. So why you want to do disclaim? It will have some values now. Shares and it is easy to realize also.
No. Actually, this is the decision of the liquidator. If he wants to disclaim, if he thinks that this is a property, but there is a clause, no? Someone interested can always inquire from the liquidator. In this case, the local contractor has shown interest that, okay, I want to purchase this property.
Because if contract is there, you
Actually,
have
we
to-
should not go into the reasoning of all these things. Now we have to read the
Very
law as it is.
unprofitable contracts, sir. This is very
Actually-
much unprofitable. Companies paying huge revenues for those contracts. That's why he has to go into onerous property. He has to disclaim these things. Having no ek paisa highly, that is the no
ऐसा ना
action.
सर जी, if we go to the logic of all these things, ना फिर तो मुश्किल
That
हो
is the
जाएगा.
things.
We have to read the law as it is. The law is that, okay, it is the liquidator has to assess whether he wants to disclaim any property, and that is why there is a clause that if someone is interested, then he can make an inquiry to the liquidator, and in that situation, the liquidator shall not make an application if a person interested in the property or contract inquired in writing whether he will make an application to have such property disclaimed, and he did not communicate his intention to do so within 1 month from the receipt of such inquiry. So within 1 month from the receipt of such inquiry, he has to communicate back to the person, to the local contractor, before making an application. Sometimes what happens is the liquidator may, notwithstanding that he has endeavored to sell or has taken possession of the property or exercised any act of ownership. Sometimes the liquidator tries to sell the property, but then the property does not fetch any price. Then also he can disclaim it. It says that the liquidator may, notwithstanding that he has endeavored to sell or has taken possession of the property or exercised any act of ownership in relation thereto or done anything in pursuance of the contract, make an application to the adjudicating authority within 6 months from the liquidation commencement date or such extended period as may be allowed by the adjudicating authority to disclaim the property or contract. So in case he wants to disclaim, he has to make an application within 6 months. And in case someone has made an inquiry, he has to communicate his intention to do so within 1 month from the receipt of such inquiry. And the liquidator shall serve a notice to persons interested in the owner's property or contract at least 7 days before
When
making an
they-
application for disclaimer to the adjudicating authority. And they have given the explanation also. Okay, who is the person who is interested in the owner's property? A person is interested in the owner's property or contract if he is entitled to the benefit or subject to the burden of the contract. Because in this case, he was a local contractor. So in case he was a local contractor and he was having the maintenance contract of that property, so he is entitled to the benefit. He was earning something because he was having a maintenance contract of that property, or claims an interest in a disclaimed property, or is under a liability not discharged in respect of a disclaimed property. So this is regarding the owner's property and disclaimer thereof. Next. Haji, any question? The liquidator has formed a stakeholders consultation committee, but did not include the workmen or their representatives in the committee. So in this case, what will be the situation?
Regulation 31A, sir.
In that situation, if the 31(4), if the stakeholder of any class fails to nominate the representative under section 3, such representative shall be selected by majority of voting share of the class present and voting.
What is the regulation for this? Regulation?
Section
4.
31A
4.
31A 4, sir. No, not 4.
Regulation 31A. 31A2.
Yes, sir.
31A2 has given a table. Now, this table I have made again here. So, paid up capital in this case is 50 crores. So, for shareholders, one representative is to be there. Shareholder के लिए तो एक representative है, irrespective of the amount. ठीक है? Similarly, for workmen, there has to be one representative. For government dues, there has to be one representative. इतना तो इसमें लिखा ही हुआ है ना?
Then unsecured and secured.
अच्छा, हाँ, फिर secured और unsecured. फिर
Unsecured,
secured and unsecured में it is
214.
percentage of the liquidation value. Because liquidation value in this case is 300 crores. So 100 crores is 33%. So in case the liquidation value is less than 50%, then the number of creditors and maximum 2. In this case, there is only one creditor for SBI. So he will appoint one representative. And loan from alternative investment funds, there are 5, and the liquidation value is more than 50%. So in this case, maximum will be 4. Where the claims of such creditors admitted during the liquidation process is at least 50% of the liquidation value. Actually, first of all, we have to combine both these financial institutions and loan from alternative investment funds. Total के लिए you have to appoint 4 persons, है ना? Because total comes to more than 50%. So maximum 4 you can appoint. 1 you have appointed already for financial institutions. So 3 you can appoint from alternative investment funds. Regarding unsecured loans, if it is less than 25% of the liquidation value, and if it is at least 25% of the liquidation value, maximum 2 you can appoint. So this way you will be deciding the composition of the stakeholders consultation committee.
सर एक मिनट पिछले वाला दिखाइए सर स्लाइड को प्लीज.
हाँ जी.
फोटो उठा लेते हैं सर इसको.
ये तो भेज दिया आपको मैंने.
हाँ ठीक है.
फोटो क्या करना?
ये भेज दिया मेरे ख्याल. सामने चल रहा है ना.
हाँ. नहीं, मेरे हिसाब से I think I have already sent you this PPT.
You sent it, but मेरे को अभी करंट सामने है ना, देखने के लिए सुविधा होता है.
Okay.
फिर खोलेंगे, फिर देखेंगे, टाइम लगता है.
अच्छा, next point is one of the secured financial creditors has written to the liquidator regarding his intention to realize the security. The loan amount due to him was 80 crores. Security provided to him as on date was valued at 100 crores. Now he intends to sell it at 70 crores. The liquidator has a buyer who wants to buy this property at 90 crores. However, the buyer wants to buy it in 2 installments of 40 crores immediately and 50 crores after 6 months. So what will be your take on this? In this case, one of the secured financial creditor He says that, okay, I want to realize my security. Loan amount due to him is 80 crores. Security provided is value 100 crores. He wants to sell it at 70 crores. You have a buyer of 90 crores, but he says that, okay, I'll buy it in 2 installments. 140 crore immediately and 50 crores after 6 months. Then what will be your take on this? What buyer you will prefer? This buyer with 90 crores or the buyer with 70 crores?
Sir, buyer with
70
90 crores,
crores.
liquidator, as per this also we have to go with the liquidator.
No,
Liquidator
but
identify some
but
buyer.
actually you cannot buy you cannot
Time.
sell the property. You have to have a ready and willing buyer. So I think he is not a ready buyer. He will not qualify the definition of a ready buyer. Let us see what does it mean by ready buyer. Suppose he says, let us read section 52 and the related regulation.
Sir, section, what is the section, sir?
Section 52. And the related regulation is regulation number 37 of liquidation process regulations. So in this case, where the liquidator informs the secured creditor of a person willing to buy the secured asset, the secured creditor shall sell the asset to such person. The liquidator shall inform the secured creditor within 21 days of the receipt of intimation if a person is willing to buy the secured asset before the expiry of 30 days from the date of intimation under subregulation 1 at a price higher than the price intimated under subregulation 1. So he should be ready to and willing to buy before the expiry of 30 days. In this case, he wants it in installments. So he cannot be preferred. Regulation 37 says a secured creditor who seeks to realize its security interest shall intimate the liquidator of the price at which he proposes to realize its secured asset. He wants to realize the asset at 70 crores. And regulation 37, sub-regulation 2 says the liquidator shall inform the secured creditor within 21 days of the receipt of intimation under subregulation 1 if a person is willing to buy the secured asset before the expiry of 30 days from the date of intimation under subregulation 1 at a price higher than the price intimated under subregulation 1.
But it is also in, sir, same type of this in schedule 1. Schedule 1, there is a 11A. In option cell 11A, there is a system if a liquidator may conduct what the liquidator rejects the highest bid in the auction process, he shall intimate the reasons. Next 12B in the closed, that is only within 90 days, you have to payment every payments. After 30, he has to make full. Then with interest, and after that he will cancel the interest. Cancel the ये point है ना sir?
हाँ, ये भी point है.
ये भी point है.
अभी तो क्या हो रहा है, वो कह रहा है I will pay after 6 months.
नहीं होगा, इसमें cancel हो जाएगा ना sir? If you cancel in the 12 में cancel हो जाएगा.
नहीं, फिर सेल तो तब तक complete sir, it will not be deemed as complete unless the full and final payment comes.
तो इस केस में
Then how come we will prefer the 90 crore rupees?
अभी तो हो सकता है वो 6 महीने बाद दे भी ना पैसे. कई लोग ऐसे भी होते हैं, वैसे ही प्रॉमिस कर
Not
देते हैं.
coming within 30 days or so, it is 6 months. And sale shall be deemed to be completed when the full amount of that only I am saying. There are so many if and buts in between.
Yes.
Immediate sale has its own effect.
In that case,
you get the money immediately.
Yes. Next question is 50 employees are working in Catalyst division, which is being run as a going concern. So because Catalyst division, he wants to sell it separately. any case he wants to sell it separately, he is running it as a going concern. So what will be the treatment of employees costs in this case? 50 employees. इसका क्या treatment होगा? These current dues, they will be included in liquidation process cost. Normally, the employees, it is the liquidation order is considered to be a discharge order for the employees. So whenever a liquidation order is passed by the adjudicating authority, it is deemed as a notice of discharge to the employees unless the business is being run as a going concern.
Profitably going concern.
Let us see the liquidation order. The effect of the liquidation order. The answer to this question will be given in the effect to the liquidation order. Initiation of liquidation, section 33. Yes, and this section 33, subsection 7. The order for liquidation under this section shall be deemed to be notice of discharge to the officers, employees, and workmen of the corporate debtor, except when the business of the corporate debtor is continued during the liquidation process by the liquidator. So in this case, this business is being run as a going concern. So these 50 employees, they will remain in the company and rest will be discharged. And now regarding the dues, let us see the liquidation process cost.
साउंड बहुत डिस्टर्ब हो रहा है सर.
हाँ, मेरा आवाज नहीं आ रहा क्या?
सर साउंड बहुत डिस्टर्ब हो रहा है सर.
अच्छा,
ऑडियो बहुत डिस्टर्ब कर रहा है सर.
ओके ओके, let me see. अच्छा, मैं
ऑडियो
इसको
बहुत डिस्टर्ब कर रहा है. ऑडियो
कोई नहीं, मैं दूसरे पे लगाता
एकदम
हूँ
बहुत
इसको।
डिस्टर्ब हो रहा है. सुनाई नहीं. हाँ,
क्लियर
बहुत
नहीं आ
डिस्टर्ब
रहा
कर
है।
रहा है
अब मैं दूसरे पे लगाता हूँ इसको। वो बीच में लाइट चला गया था ना, आप मुझे पहले बता देते हैं।
नहीं अभी से शुरू हुआ था.
अब हो गया होगा ठीक मेरे ख्याल।
हाँ अभी ठीक हुआ.
हाँ, एक्चुअली मेरे पास 2-3 कनेक्शन है टोटल, तो अब मैंने
ओके.
दूसरे पे लगा दिया, ठीक हो गया। वो बीच में लाइट चला गया था ना, तो इसलिए मैं भी
हाँ,
आप मुझे बता दिया करो ऐसा कुछ हो तो। सो इन दिस केस
हाँ बता.
द फर्स्ट पॉइंट इज क्लियर है ना। इसमें तो भाई क्या
हाँ.
है कि फॉर द बैलेंस इट विल बी ट्रीटेड एज अ नोटिस ऑफ डिस्चार्ज pursuant to the liquidation order, है ना, as per section 33. And for the employees who are working in catalyst division, they will be deemed to be working, and their employees cost will be treated as part of the liquidation process cost. तो liquidation cost का definition कहाँ दे रखा वो देख लेते हैं एक बार, where it is given.
So, regulation 2.
Section 2 EA sir.
Cost
EA.
regulation 2 EA.
Yeah.
Cost incurred by the liquidator for preserving and protecting the assets, including cost incurred by the liquidator in carrying on the business of the corporate debtor as a going concern.
So in this case, they can ask a question on this also.
That case, sir, in that case, the cost of the workers will be included on a carrying on the business cost.
Yes, बिल्कुल.
So it will be the net of realization if there is any sale or so it may be a profitable going concern or maybe a loss making going concern.
Actually, question is not loss or profit. Basically, if it is a going concern, then it may fetch better price. This is the idea. So they say you keep it running. Naturally, it will be commercial decision. Normally, when it is profitable only, then it is run. So if even operating cost is not being recovered, they will not run it as a going concern. Normally, this is the scenario.
Yes.
So they work on the principle of this marginal costing. So
Sir,
this liquidation
is the
cost.
39C is required, sir?
Huh?
Is your 39C approvals of the इसका required है क्या sir? 39C CRP का 39C rule regulation applications होगा? First of all, it will take approvals from the COC.
For this,
होगा तो
नहीं ऐसा कुछ नहीं.
नहीं अगर
Actually,
है
this is the
Hmm.
decision of the liquidator during
itself
liquidation. The liquidator will decide whether he wants to run it as a going concern or not. And endeavor is always made to first sell it as a going concern also. They want to explore all the possibilities. Whenever a liquidation order is placed, वो क्या बोलते हैं? First you explore the possibility of compromise or arrangement. Then you try to sell it as a going concern. Then you try to sell the business of the corporate as a going concern. Only when all these options are not possible, only then you can sell it in parts or parcels, etc.
हाँ sir.
हाँ,
But
तो यही है.
before these things, you have to take the stakeholders committees concern. Stakeholders committees committee को report लेनी चाहिए ना. He has to
नहीं
take
ऐसा
the
कुछ नहीं है. नहीं ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. ऐसा तो कुछ नहीं है.
I think
By-
liquidation
Hi,
and
sir.
liquidator's decision is
Liquidator decision is final, and he even may disagree to what the stakeholders consultation committee says, or just he has to record the reasons in writing
reasons.
as
He
to
is
why he
not
does not
bound
agree.
by their advice.
He is not bound by their advice. And this decision is taken immediately after the liquidation order.
But if you do not take the advice of that, he is not bound. That is true. But he have to make the report to the progress report.
That is true. But actually, this decision, whether he wants to run it as a going concern, it is taken immediately after the liquidation order, even when stakeholders consultation committee has not been formed. This decision will be basically a commercial decision in case it is a viable unit, in case it is able to fully recover the operating cost. So he will try to run it as a going concern, because immediately after the liquidation order, he has to otherwise issue a discharge order, termination letter to all the employees. In case none of the business is going to be run as a going concern, so he will issue a discharge letter to all the employees. Even he need not issue, it will be deemed as a notice of discharge. The liquidation order itself. Rather, he will ask these employees of Catalyst division, okay, you have to keep working for the organization. Rather, it is the other way around. Otherwise, it is deemed to be a notice of discharge. The liquidation order itself is deemed to be a notice of discharge. That is what we have read in section 33 now.
Okay, sir. But it should be profitable.
Or profitable normally, yes. Because it has to be commercial decision, he has to justify at least.
Right.
Now the process of the liquidation could not be completed in 1 year. So at what stage extension should be applied? Suppose normally the period is 1 year. Out of this, 90 days is given in addition to this 1 year for compromise and arrangement. Then another 90 days for selling it as a going concern or sale of a business of this as a going concern. Liquidation process regulations. So first of all, if he is exploring the option of a compromise arrangement or amalgamation, then 90 days period will be given in addition to the 1 year. And then in case he wants to sell it as a going concern, A to F provisions are there, no? Just let me see.
E and F will be taken first.
E and F, yes.
E and F.
32 EN.
32A.
32 E and F.
30 E and F लेना पड़ेगा.
So for 32 E and F also 90 days period will be given extra.
Then he will go for other.
Then he will go to A from A to D. Yes.
A to D. That is sold by a standalone slump.
Because it says the regulation 32A sub-regulation 4 says this: if the liquidator is unable to sell the corporate debtor or its business under clause E or F of regulation 32 within 90 days from the liquidation commencement date, he shall proceed to sell the assets of the corporate debtor under clauses A to D of regulation 32. Now, where the extension should be applied, it is given in regulation 44 sub-regulation 2. So regulation 44 says,
He will take a meeting of the.
if the liquidator fails to liquidate the corporate debtor within 1 year, he shall make an application to the adjudicating authority to continue such liquidation along with the report explaining why the liquidation has not been completed and specifying the additional time that shall be required for liquidation. So the answer is given as per regulation 44 sub-regulation 2. So I think we were able to find out answers to all the questions. Now let us take a case of voluntary liquidation.
Sir, sir,
Madam.
90 days you said for settlement.
Yes, compromise arrangement and amalgamation. Yes.
Where we will find it, sir? मैं पा नहीं पा रही हूँ.
क्या ना?
Just a minute. ये तो शुरू में ही मिल जाएगा आपको.
शुरू में मिलेगा.
आप रेगुलेशन 2B देख लीजिए.
2B
Regulation 2B says the time taken on compromise or arrangement not exceeding 90 days shall not be included in the liquidation period. So regulation 2B sub-regulation 2.
কালকে তো মুশকিল পড়ে যাবো. কালকে তো বাড়িতেও থাকবো না আমরা.
हाँ जी ठीक है मैडम, मिल गया आपको. Regulation 2B sub-regulation 2. The time taken on compromise or arrangement not exceeding 90 days shall not be included in the liquidation period.
Sir, what will be the liquidator fees if there is no fixed assets and only NRRA are there?
Actually, the liquidator's fees is decided in the last meeting of the COC itself. So when the COC at its last meeting, they want to go in for liquidation. So they let us read those provisions from CIRP regulations. There the answer you will find. CIRP, let us open these CIRP regulations. Insolvency
39 days.
Mhm.
Fees of the liquidator, 3090.
Yes, fees of the liquidator. So while approving a resolution plan under section 30 or deciding to liquidate, the committee may in consultation with the RP fix the fees payable to the liquidator if an order for liquidation is passed. So this is a supposition here. Okay, in case the adjudicating authority passes an order for liquidation, what fees you will be charging? First is the period, if any, used for compromise or arrangement. So they are asking the fees in different scenarios. So first of all, if any period is used for compromise or arrangement, in those during that period, what fees you will be charging? Number two,
as per CIRP basis, sir.
the period, if any, used for sale under clause E and F. For this period, if you want to first endeavor to sell it as a business, the entire company as a going concern or part of the business as a going concern, then what you will be, the fees you will be charging. And third is for the balance period of liquidation. So this is what they are asking in the COC.
Okay, sir.
Sir, one doubt, sir.
Huh?
Here, in 32, the corporate debtor as a going concern or business of corporate debtor as a going concern. What is the
Yes.
difference?
Actually, the business of the corporate debtor means, suppose there are 4 divisions. So one of the divisions he wants to sell. Like I have given you the example. So might be that there are 2 divisions, engineering and R&D. R&D, he is of the opinion that it may not fetch a buyer. So he is willing to sell that part only. So any independent part of the business can be. So this is the business.
Okay, thank you.
So I think now we can move on to the next case study. Voluntary
Voluntary
liquidation.
liquidation.
Mhm. Just a minute. Hmm. This case study I shared it with you. है ना? Just a minute. Hmm. I think now it is visible, है ना? Case study is
हाँ
visible.
सर,
हाँ
हाँ
जी, हाँ
सर।
जी, बताइए बताइए। तो आप पढ़िए एक बार चट्टोपाध्याय जी।
जी, Mrs. Subbag Private Limited.
And I think I have already shared this, है ना, in the morning.
हाँ, yes, you have said. Private Limited was incorporated in 1/1/2015 with share capital of 1 crore. Mr. R was the promoter of the company. Number of shareholders in the company was restricted to 7. We considered a family of the members of Mr. R, Mr. R, Mr. S, and Mr. T were as the directors of the company.
So there are 3 directors,
Three directors.
and all the 7 members are the family members.
The company was set up to manufacture auto ancillary spares, Pune, Maharashtra. The promoter of the company, a promoter of the company, a mechanic
By profession.
by profession, was instrumental in developing unique design. थोड़ा सा छोटा कर दी ना सर इसको, थोड़ा सा, हाँ, थोड़ा सा छोटा कर दिया।
अभी करता हूँ।
दिख नहीं रहा है, इधर चला जा रहा है।
एक मिनट इसमें फॉर्म में जाके इसको कंट्रोल ए, अभी ठीक होगा मेरे ख्याल, है ना?
हाँ, थोड़ा सा ठीक है।
अभी या और छोटा करूं?
और छोटा कर दो,
और छोटा कर देता हूँ।
इधर के बॉक्स चला जा रहा है।
हाँ, कोई नहीं। अब ठीक है?
12 में, हाँ 12 में, हाँ ठीक है।
12 कर देता हूँ, अब ठीक होगा, है ना?
ठीक है।
हाँ जी।
The company was set up to manufacture auto ancillary parts in Pune, Maharashtra. The promoter, mechanic by profession, was instrumental in developing a unique design of a critical high-value spare parts used in repairs of mid-segment sedan cars. The company,
Manufacturing.
the company, upon formation, entered into a long-term contract, 3 years, reputed car manufacturing company in southern region of India for supply of critical spare parts designed by the company. The total value of the 3 years contract was pegged at rupees 7 crores. Point number 3. The company purchased a plot of land on the outskirts of Pune for setting up a factory valued at 75 lakhs. Of the plot of the land was utilized for the purpose of construction of the factory premises at a cost of 70 lakhs. The remaining part of the plot remaining vacant. Besides, the company purchased 2 fixed assets with the municipal limits of 1 warehouse and an office costing 65 lakhs and 50 lakhs respectively. The philosophy deployed manufacture of the spare parts was labor intensive, and hence the cost of machinery and allied equipment was kitna lakhs, sir? Was
Limited to 10 lakhs.
10 lakhs.
10 lakhs. The company arranged long-term loan from Ace banks to meet the shortfall investment. The company estimated workmen and employees.
Formation of the company.
The formation of the company provided to the highly successful and profitable venture during 3 years. Supplied spare part not only to the leading car manufacturing company with whom it entered in long-term car customers like car manufacturing companies, traders, garages owners, etc. Throughout Western and Southern region, the company possessed excise, MVAT, and CST registration prior to introduction of GST of India. These were migrated to GST effective from July 2017. The company filed TAN 1 in the transfer of the accumulated regime. The worst days of the company commenced from January 18 onwards, when the competitors of the machinery and set up the establishment of the vicinity of the company for manufacture of the same parts. Next, sir. Company enjoyed monopoly. The competitor offered huge discounts at the manufacturing process deployed, but to the large extent. On the other side, the company was unable to match the discounts offered by the competitor, as it is a labor-intensive manufacturing process deployed by it. The company failed in its efforts to import the same deployed by the competitors, as it was too late by him and also due to high cost. To add the fortune of the contract executed by the company with the leading car manufacturing company also expired at the end of the December. All this development resulted in the gradual curtailment of the demands of the spare parts manufactured by thus the business models of the company becomes uneconomical. The inventories of the raw material, work in progress, goods piled up manifold due to the sanctity of the demands of these products. So consequently, high value tax credit accumulated accounts of the company in the accounts of the company. The company defaulted in realizing timely payments of the wages and salaries to the employees. The company also failed to meet the contractual obligation in realizing timely payments to the contractors. The company curtailed the workforce and the number of the contracts gradually.
Sometimes they actually deliberately put so much information. Some of it is useful, some of it is not useful. So you have to see what is useful and what is not.
9 में चले थे, 8 में खूब बहुत ज्यादा यूजफुल नहीं है.
हाँ, इसमें कोई खास नहीं.
खास नहीं.
इसमें तो ये गड़बड़ करना शुरू कर दिया और fictitious forms बना लिया, turnover बढ़ा दिया इस तरह से. They have done this thing.
During March 20, the promoter arranged execution of gift deed of the transfer company's plot of land to one of the closest relatives of the spouse of Mrs. J.
So this can be a question. Transfer of property.
Book value of the residential plot was 50 lakhs. The residential plots were estimated to 1.25 crores. Mrs. J ultimately sold the plot of the unrelated persons, Mr. X, during November 20 is important. November 20. During April 20, the promoter arranged to sell the warehouse to Mr. Y, an associate of rupees 50 lakhs. Book value of 35 lakhs, market value 1 crore. The company funds fully discharged liability, other tax dues, and hence they claimed itself as a debt-free company. Next, sir. The company, after following the procedure, the initiated voluntary procedure under section 1121. Mr. G was appointed as the liquidator. When about the background, please submit your reply to the given MCQ.
So here,
which authority will cause or issue public announcement for commencement of the voluntary liquidation? IBC 2016. आंसर भी बताते जाऊं क्या सर? आंसर भी बताते जाऊं क्या सर?
आंसर में पहले रेगुलेशन बोलिए.
हाँ, रेगुलेशन बहुत ही देता हूँ. Which of the authority? ये है, पहले है आपका आंसर है लिक्विडेटर.
कहाँ पढ़ते हैं हम लोग?
आंसर ए में जा रहा है.
एक मिनट.
The regulation 3.
हाँ मैं
In point number, I mean, section under that, it says 3, subject to the approval of creditors, liquidation proceedings in respect of corporate person shall be deemed to have commenced. In point 2, it says corporate person shall notify the register and board about the resolution under subregulation 1 to liquidate the corporate persons within 7 days of such resolution or subsequent approval by the creditors as the case may
Or
be.
public announcement. None of the above.
which authority will cause the issue public? First question to which of the authority will cause the issue of public announcement for the commencement of voluntary liquidation?
So, public announcement.
Public announcement. Who will be public announcement? That is liquidator will make a public announcement in Form A1 within 5 days.
It is regulation 14.
There are 14.
Okay.
Okay.
I have wrongly read the question. Sorry.
Public schedule 1 last date of within 5 days appointment of liquidator. Public announcement will go to the liquidator.
Okay.
Answer will be to second. 2 is the answer. Regulation 24.
Regulation 20.
14, sir.
14.
Regulation 14 says the liquidator shall make a public announcement in Form A of Schedule 1 within 5 days from his appointment in case of voluntary liquidation. Next question is,
Correct.
what is the date of
The date
commencement of voluntary
voluntary
liquidation proceedings?
process.
Sometimes even the questions do not have much reference to the case study, whatever is written in the text. So sometimes when you see the questions, you may be able to answer them on their own without even referring to the case study.
B3 has
हाँ,
B3 date of appointments of liquidator.
date of commencement of voluntary liquidation.
Section number.
Date of commencement.
Section बोलिए चट्टोपाध्याय जी.
हाँ बोल रहा. Section 59 subsection
Commencement तो यहाँ पर होगा ना, from the date
It
of
is
passing of
none of the
resolution.
above.
Resolution, no, sir.
None of the above आएगा इसमें तो answer sir जी.
कैसे सर?
Sir, it is given in.
भाई देखो ऐसा होता है कि when is this is the date of passing of the resolution basically.
Yes, sir. That is given in regulation.
Date
3,
is
sir.
possible liquidation. They
Three,
said
three.
ठीक है, date is possible liquidation, but at the same time appointment से liquidator is on the same date. There is no irrelevant. That is to be taken. अब ये क्वेश्चन अब that is the ये क्वेश्चन के relations है ना. A special resolution members of the company in a general meeting regarding the company to be liquidated, voluntary appointment and insolvency to act as a liquidator. Same time हो रहा है ना sir. So that is the date. If the date is date of resolution था, so that is the first choice. That is the first choice होता. I think so. It may be wrong.
इसमें सर अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ लिक्विडेटर कब माना जाएगा?
जिस दिन स्पेशल
appointments
पास किया ना.
हाँ, majority of the year होगा, that is the date.
तब तो इस क्वेश्चन को सही घुमा के पूछा है और आंसर सही होना चाहिए. घुमा के पूछा है, अच्छी बात है. तो दिमाग
Special resolution of the members of the company in the general meeting requiring the company to be liquidated voluntarily and appointing an insolvency professional to act as a liquidator. At the same time, resolution has been passed. Sir, 59.
Initiation of liquidation, I think we can refer to chapter 2 in this. Initiation
Yes,
of
sir.
liquidation.
Yes, sir.
declaration-
Regulation 3, sir.
Regulation number 3.
In that third point, it is given, sir. Which has a subclause C,
subject to the approval of
subsection
C.
1C.
Liquidation process in respect to corporate person shall be commenced from the date of passing of the resolution date. That is the thing. That is I think so. That is the date of appointment of liquidator होना चाहिए.
हाँ,
Yes,
it is,
yes.
this is both
One
are
C.
simultaneously.
हाँ,
Yes, yes. 1C
that is-
also. Regulation 1C it states.
or that is also one C is there.
Yes, yes.
B is C also is there. A question is there. That is why I choose my date.
The date of appointment of
It's
liquid.
not the
Okay,
liquidator.
next question. Who will appoint and replace liquidator under voluntary liquidation proceedings?
Corporate person, sir.
A replacement.
Corporate person.
Right. Because adjudicating authority here got very
No role.
limited role. To which authority the liquidator shall submit the preliminary report?
वो भी corporate person, sir.
हाँ, बिल्कुल सब उसी को जाएगा ये.
That is no rules of the adjudicating authority. Only
Next is
final at the time of final submission of the report.
yes.
that will only
The periodicity of preparation of progress report under voluntary liquidation is
Quarter.
That is
None of the
quarterly.
above. Annual,
Quarterly.
annual.
annual है, I think है ना?
Annual. Oh.
Annual.
Periodically preparation तो quarterly तो होगा ना sir. Periodical preparation.
नहीं, periodical नहीं पूछ रहा है, periodicity. तो annual report ही तो देना है, quarterly report देना ही कहाँ है इसमें? What is the regulation?
एक मिनट, sir.
Reporting says, in this case, regulation number 8.
Ah.
The liquidator shall prepare preliminary report, annual status report. So there is no quarterly report as such.
Oh हाँ, sorry, ये गलत हो गया.
Right.
Right.
वहां पर
Annual report.
in case of liquidation it is quarterly, here it is annual only.
Annual.
Next is the liquidator shall make a public announcement in
5 days.
In one
Yes.
होगा. 5 days
Schedule
form
one.
schedule 1.
So first will be the answer.
First will be the answer.
Next is the case history suggests that Messrs.
Savage.
Subjbag have initiated the voluntary
Liquidation, there is some-
maliciously. So are there
there is
any
penal
penal
provision under
provisions?
the IDC. Penal provision under section 65 is penal provision is there. Group G and 4 होना चाहिए सर मेरा हिसाब से.
Two. 65-2.
65-2, right. Malicious intention is there. 65-2 sir section.
तो इसमें क्या imprisonment होगा नहीं होगा?
Imprisonment का कोई बात नहीं है सर. There is no case of imprisonment.
नहीं, fraudulent trading भी तो हुआ ना?
नहीं आप क्वेश्चन तो मैलिशियसली पूछे ना सर.
Fraudulent और malicious.
हाँ,
तो 1 lakh to 1 crore.
हाँ, 65-1 में है.
1.
Fraudulent और malicious
Imprisonment की बात नहीं कर रहा सर, only fine की बात कर रहा है.
हाँ.
Okay.
Not less than 1 lakh, but that's not.
But that is the one. Not
May
this is very
extend.
similar to 66. That is true. But it is specifically meant for malicious intention.
Next question. The case history suggests that the promoter of the company has gifted a residual portion of the plot of the land to a relative of his spouse. So what is possible cause of action in case this transaction is brought to the notice of the adjudicating authority by the jurisdictional tax authorities?
4 होगा आंसर मेरे ख्याल से. Both.
But this transaction was done by the promoter. So why liquidator will be punished?
Who, sir?
Because he has not identified this transaction, preferential transaction.
He has not reported this thing. Reported to the notice of the AA, but not resolution by liquidator.
Okay. Next. From the case history, it is evident that Mr. X purchased
Purchase of
the
land.
residual plot of
Sir,
land
what
from
will be
the
the answer, sir?
Both होगा answer 1 and 2
answer is 4.
4.
But we can link it with the penalty provisions, corporate offenses and penalties. वहां पर exactly section आएगा, उसमें देख लेंगे क्या होता है. And from the case history, it is evident that Mr. X purchased the residual plot of land from the relative of the promoter. What is the possible cause of action in case this transaction is brought to the notice of the adjudicating authorities?
तो आंसर 4 होना चाहिए सर.
The interest and give the property. Yes.
पब्लिक अनाउंसमेंट बाद में हुआ सर.
Hmm.
बिफोर द पब्लिक अनाउंसमेंट अपॉइंटमेंट से 2000 इसमें हुआ. अभी जब डेट ऑफ डेक्टर्स थी.
We can see the relevant facts also. ऊपर में जाके X वाला कब परचेज हुआ वो देख लेते हैं.
व्हाट इज दिस थिंग.
ज्यादा क्लियर हो जाएगा. ये है during March 2020.
बट ये 21 में हुआ.
Hmm.
So that is the prior to innocent public announcement के prior before the public announcement.
Hmm.
That is to be done.
And X has purchased it more than market value. Estimated value was 1.25 crores. Mr. X has purchased 1.30 crores. Next question is, the case history suggests that the promoter of the company makes an attempt to make a concealment of residual plot of land owed by the company.
नीचे स्क्रॉल करिए 4 में तरफ चलते हैं सर. 4 मेरा ख्याल से with imprisonment for term not less 3 years, which means 5 years. 60 section.
वन होना चाहिए सर. वन होना चाहिए सर. वन हो सकता है.
So what is the relevant section for this? आपके जो है ना सेक्शन जो पेनल्टी वाले प्रोविजन है वहां से इसका आंसर मिलेगा.
68 sir, section 68 sir.
68.
68 is punishment for concealment of property.
Property.
Yes.
So
Willfully
that is 3 years.
concealed.
That will be the 3 years.
3 to 5 years and 1
3
lakh
to
to
5
1
years.
crore.
That
Or
is the-
with both.
Or with both. Standard punishment जो है.
तो फर्स्ट ही आ जाएगा फिर तो.
वन ही होगा.
1 crore 1 कैसे 1 crore है ना. 1 से 3 crore होगा ना सर.
और विद बोथ है. हाँ.
और 1 to
So 4 only sir.
हाँ, but 4 only sir. मैं तो बोल रहा हूँ 4. 4 not 1.
Which shall not be less than 3 years. अच्छा. But or with fine, which shall not be less than 1 lakh, but may extend to 1 crore or with both. नहीं फोर्थ में विद बोथ का बोथ कहाँ है. बोथ है ही नहीं फोर्थ में.
हाँ वन ही
ये
होगा.
1 होगा इसका आंसर. आप देखो ना और विद बोथ भी तो है ना.
Yes sir. 1.
हाँ क्योंकि 68 में आप 68 का ना रोमन 3 देखिए.
It says no sir.
Such officer
but
shall
only
be.
no sir.
Huh?
Such officer shall be punishable
Yes,
with
yes.
imprisonment, but only sir. But may extend to 1 crore or with both.
Or with both. So the word with both
So
are there.
1.
No?
Yes sir.
In
So
number
one,
4, in fourth option, with both is not there.
Yes,
One
sir.
होगा.
Yes, sir. 1 only sir. Yes.
T will be the answer. हाँ.
Next.
तो 68 में सारे केस में बोथ है. सारे.
The case history suggests that the promoter and his associate in the company are involved in falsification of books. So what punishment can be awarded to the promoter for falsification of books?
तो 1 ही होगा आंसर इसमें. Imprisonment for term shall
ये
not.
71 है ना. Section
71
71.
sir.
71
sir.
Or with
Yes,
both.
sir.
हाँ.
Same.
Right.
पागल लगता है कभी-कभी सर लिखने में इतना. चलिए. उसमें तो गलती हो जाता है एक आध. तो क्या कहते हैं.
Last one sir suggested it is everything, it is both. So
Yes.
we have to see
हाँ
both.
both right.
That is the key.
Yes. So if there are any questions,